post this and all of my recorded classes to a YouTube channel where you guys will get a link to in the recap that I send out. So don't worry about necessarily taking a ton of notes and having to write down everything that you're looking at. I'll send you guys everything nicely packaged. More or less, I want you guys to just get the gears turning in your head about how you can apply what I am talking about to your own business. And then you'll get all of this stuff nicely packaged and a recording of this session sent to you shortly after this class is ended. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. So here we are. Tips for managing Gmail as a real estate agent. So email productivity for real estate agents is obviously something that can be a real challenge for you guys. And if you're thinking about how much time you could lose in between the given days that you guys are operating in, hopefully some of these tips can save you in, for example, my case and some of the stuff I've implemented, it cut down on sometimes up to a 20 to 30 minute time period in my day of just browsing through unnecessary emails. And that turns into a lot of time every week that you can then dedicate to other tasks. So if you're an agent who spends a lot of time each day on email, these are some productivity hacks that might cut down your time sharply and make you a little bit more efficient. So the first one is a extension called Unroll.me, and I will give you guys a link to this extension in the recap that I send out, but it is a super useful tool that aggregates every subscription that it can find in your Gmail inbox and then give you a list of all of those subscriptions neatly, as you can see here, and will allow you to not only just see the subscription, but preview what that message looks like. So you can then decide right off the gate whether something is worth keeping or getting rid of. Massive way to declutter your inbox. I know there's tons of examples where you guys have clicked subscribe to something just to read an article, and now 3 months later, you're still getting lemon chicken recipes that you're never going to use. Well, this is a great way, instead of just having those build up in your inbox or in your spam folder or in a secondary inbox that's constantly just cluttering space, you can organize all of that stuff and get rid of it. Next, we're going to talk about some of the stuff in the advanced email settings that can make you a better, more productive real estate agent. So adjusting the notifications is the first thing we're going to talk about. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to my email here. And we'll look at my Gmail here as an example. So we're going to go, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier to see. And that little bar that just popped up, which will pop up if you haven't opened the email on the desktop in a while, is what we're going to be talking about, is desktop notifications. So the first big productivity tool lives in here in settings, which, as I said, is kind of where the rest of this class and some of these tips are going to live. But if we go into our settings, one of the first things we're going to see when we scroll down here, not one of the first things, but one of the things we can find, what we're looking for is desktop notifications. So this is basically going to have a little window pop up right over here that will notify you when either, if you're working on a transaction, you can have emails arrive whenever anything comes into the inbox. You can only tag important messages or messages that the sender is tagging as important to show up and notify. Or in my case, I'm teaching a class or having a one-on-one call with a client or giving a listing presentation or whatever the case may be. You can go in here and shut off your email notifications to your desktop to make sure that you don't have any kind of interruption while you're giving that presentation. Anything that you change in any of these fields, we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and make sure we hit Save Change. So for example, if I change this to important, I can save my changes and it will update and take me back to my inbox. Next, we're going to talk about organizing emails using labels and folders. This is going to allow you, much like if you think about how you operate in any good CRM, you want to think about what are the best needs for my business to reach out to any given consumers, and then how can I group those consumers so I can effectively send that message out to them as quickly as possible. Meaning, if I've got 500 people in my email contacts that are a part of my sphere, and I know that 100 of them belong to one HOA group, another 100 of them live in Santa Cruz, another 100 of them live in Monterey, and the rest of them are scattered about the peninsula. I can label and group these people by whatever means you need, personal, existing contacts, things like that. And that way, emails that will come in will be sorted and grouped in a way, again, that is efficient to your response needs for your business. So how do we get to that? So if we had finished making that first setting change, it would kick us back to our Gmail dashboard. I'm going to go back to our little gear icon and click on settings. And the labels are this second icon right here. So the first thing you're going to notice are things that you can turn on and off in regards to how you see your inbox. And then you can also adjust the display. As you can see, when I hover over their new meeting section, you can move that up and down to better fit your needs. If you wanted to see more of these, that way you don't have to scroll necessarily so much, but I digress. This stuff here can be turned on or off. As you can see, system labels, show or hide. I can have, all mail. I can decide to have that on. And there you can see it popped up. If I hit hide, it will disappear. Trash. If I don't really need that, again, sort this based on whatever is going to best fit your needs. What do you guys need to do quickly for your business? What is just taking up space? What do you not use? Make sure this, because when you start creating labels, they will also populate underneath all of this. So you're going to want to make sure that the system labels are down to just the cores of what you use. Same for categories. You can choose to have the built-in categories turned on, or you can hide those. As you can see, categories will pop up. This is where your labels will show up if you create any. I am going to go ahead and hide. And down here is where you can create your own custom ones. Start naming them. You can group them under, you can have subgroups under specific labels. If I wanted to do, like using my example, that HOA group 1. And then now you could group and tag any messages that are in your inbox to that specific label by clicking on an email, labels, and apply. Now, obviously, that's an individual. Like I said, let's say I got 100 of them. I can go through and search. Let's say I wanted to grab, I know all of the emails I have sent to them recently have their address in them, or in my case, I can group everything that has YouTube in it. Select them all and label them as a group, or remove a label. Again, allowing you to better manage your inbox for your business needs and group people however you see fit to better contact them. Again, this is just like any kind of management you would do in your CRM. And that's what you're essentially thinking about, right? If this is going to be the back end in which you operate for all of your email in regards to your business, then this is kind of the response hub arm of your CRM, whatever, if you're using InTouch for other things, but still operating in here for email purposes, this needs to be in consideration just like everything else is as a part of your CRM system as a whole. So now let's move on to the next one, which is filters. Use filters to sort through your emails. The next key in understanding your settings is filters and blocked addresses. So this will allow you to just group specific things so your inbox isn't cluttered with subscriptions. And to create a new filter, you just click on, let's go back to my email, go back into the settings, filters and blocked addresses. And all we have to do is create a new filter, and anything coming in from, for example, just putting my email, for example, anything I am sending to, if you wanted to sort that way, you can have sorts by subjects. Anything you want to put in here, we can hit search, and I found who I was looking for. If you wanted to, oops, go back to settings. You can also, if you wanted to, if you didn't want to use an extension, which was my first tip, to block specific emails or subscriptions or things like that, this is another way to go into a filter and group, look for something specific. You know, again, if we're talking subscription purposes, then you can select any given email and filter these kind of messages. When this message arrives, you can automatically skip the inbox, mark it as read, star it, apply it to, and this is what comes in handy in regards to transactions. So if you have a specific client that you work with for specific things, or again, we're talking about an HOA group, so any email coming in for a specific person, you can tag to have to a different group. You can filter subscriptions to go all into one specific group. You can filter the Coldwell Banker updates to all go into one specific group. So that way you can sort through them on your own time. And again, doing all of this and adding that filter will keep it from cluttering your inbox. And then those emails would go directly to wherever you wanted them to go, and could even be marked as read if you wanted that to happen. Turn on canned responses. So this is one of those work smart, not harder tips that I like to give. The canned response is a convenient little reply, thinking, you know, canned, something that you can pop out and use. These are super handy, especially like I note for smartphones, because what you save in the settings and the canned responses on the desktop will also apply and be saved in your phone. So these are super easy to do in this system, and all we have to do is go into our settings, and we go into advanced right here. And when you're in advanced, what we're looking to do is turn on templates. You hit enable, save change, your email will refresh and take you back to, to your landing page, where you can then compose a new email and make this a template for a auto response at any given moment. And all you have to do to save these templates is go into more options, and you'll see this will have been unlocked by hitting by enabling that feature in the advanced settings. Save draft as a new template. Title the template, whatever you want to title it. Save. And then now I can discard this email. When I go into create a new email, or actually, for a better example, if I go to reply to an email, I can go down to these three little dots, the more options, go to templates, and my template is already there. And of course, if you save your signature, if you have your signature automatically included, it will pop in where need be. But that is the canned response. It will save you a ton of time, especially if you've got tons of stuff that you know that you need to reply to, but can have a quick response or even one of those delays like, hey, I got your message. I'm going to get back to you so-and-so time. This is a great way to set that up. Offline Gmail. So if you ever lose email, if your Wi-Fi cuts out at home, there is a offline version that you can download to your machine that will allow you to compose and create anything you want to send out through Gmail like you normally would, and it will queue it all to go out as soon as the email goes, as soon as you get back online. So where does this happen? We go back into settings and we go into offline, which is right next to advanced. And we click enable offline email. As you can see, you've got however much storage you've got available. You can choose how many days worth of emails you would like to have sync, if you would like the attachments already downloaded. And after logging out of my Google account, you can choose to keep the data on your computer, saving it to your device as a backup, or you can have that information completely removed and wiped, meaning the next time you logged in, as it says here, it would take time to resync. I am going to hit save. I can't do that because this is a worked computer, but you guys get the idea. This will, as I noted, especially in times when internet usage has been at an all-time high. I know I've had problems cutting in and out during my own classes, and it's just a way to have a built-in redundancy to back you guys up if there's ever any problems with the web, and then you can continue to operate your workflow as normal and trust that everything will send out basically on a delay send system as soon as the email cuts back in. My last tip is I'm going to send you guys a couple of links. It's another Work Smart tip that you can utilize for Google. They are Gmail extensions, and I've provided two that you can look at. One of them is called Yesware. I'm hoping that clicking this is going to be awesome. It works. Main things that both of these software do is what it sounds like. It allows you to create templates, much like the canned responses in the Gmail that we showed you. Or, oops, that one's got an ad. I will fix that link. But essentially, sorry, got distracted. It will allow you to create a canned response that will automatically blow out instead of you having to go in and generate the response anyway. So templates that you reuse for frequent emails, things that you type out for multiple contacts. I put an example, if you reuse a template to congratulate a homeowner or things like that, all you would have to do is swap property names. You can build a template and have those automated to go out with certain trigger points. So these are cool things to look into. And like I said, I've included the links that you can get to put into their just extensions that you can add. Yesware and the HubSpot ones are not free, so it's up to you to use them, but they do have free trials that you can look at. And like I said, it's a way to build your Gmail to be a little bit more than a standard email system and start to think about it as a larger part of your CRM that can be utilized and automated in whatever way best meets your business needs to allow you to do what you do and reach out to your contacts for personal needs and sales needs on a more pertinent basis. So again, you don't have to use any of these automation templates. I think the canned responses are a great response as well, but this is another tip for people that just want to remove another quick step and have some kind of a if-then response system for certain things to kind of make sure that everybody gets touched or every kind of response gets hit like a good business should be for any request that's coming into your email. And to wrap up and conclude, do not underestimate the benefits of improving your email productivity. Use technology to help you become more efficient in managing your time and completing your daily tasks. Obviously, you can do what works best for you. Anything I am giving you is just a suggestion. These are just tips to kind of help balance some of the larger clutter that can be in any kind of business inbox. And I know a lot of agents, especially in the regions I operate, there's a handful that do use Gmail as the back end for where everything lives. So this is a great way to kind of start parsing that out and organizing it in a way that will benefit your consumers overall. I am going to go ahead and open up the floor to any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself. I will also look at the chat and see what is going on in here. What is the difference between a... Oh, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kathy at the Lakeside office. I'm embarrassed. I have AOL, and is there any way I can convert that to Gmail or transferred my AOL to Gmail?
So, yes and no. It's more of just a technical term in the language that we're using. You can migrate and have everything forwarded to the Gmail, because the tricky part here gets into, it's just like changing branding, right? If you're going to switch the email, if it's client facing, right, you're going to have to make that notification if you're changing what is client facing. If it isn't client facing, then all that matters is you can set up a forwarding. If you reach out to your FMS or your SSA, they should be able to get you instructions to set up email forwarding to Gmail from wherever you let them know you need it done from, and they can probably find you those steps. And all you would have to do is forward those emails, and then you can even sub-organize them in the Gmail and say, you know, these are people being forwarded in from AOL, and have an automatic dump folder for that, or just have them all coming in as standard emails. But there's no way to forward them and kill that one account and have them continually blast over. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's a question in the chat. What is the difference between a folder and a label? I just use those terms interchangeably. I do apologize about that. In Gmail, the folders are labels. When you're using something like InTouch or Outlook, they're called folders, and labels are something different in there. But in the Gmail context, creating a label for something is adding a folder to the categories section in Gmail. So every additional label is a new section or a new folder in the category space. And you can create sub-labels within a given label, like a subfolder. That's why I always use the terms interchangeably. Do they cost money? I'm assuming that question is geared towards my last slide, something like Yesware.
Yes.
Yesware does cost money. Yes, they do have pricing plans available there. Again, that's why it's the last tip I included. It is a very cool tool, and I think it's something worth offering you guys to at least explore and tickle your brains with. But it is not a freeware. It's definitely paid software that can. It's an automation system. It'll allow you to be able to prospect, schedule, follow up, and do things like that a little bit faster and more efficiently, or a lot faster, depending on how quickly you grasp the software and integrate it into everything that you do. But this is just more of a introduction to like opening that door for you. If you guys have deeper questions about that, feel free to email me in reply to the recap that you get.
And
How do
erase?
oh
Okay, yeah. How do you erase emails all in one swoop? Meaning, like I have thousands of emails in Gmail, and I can't keep up with erasing them all the time, all the junk mail and stuff. How do we get rid of all this?
Let me share my screen again.
I know in AOL, all you had to do was check boxes and then you hit delete and everything gets deleted, but you can't do that in Gmail.
It is the same process. Where did I? Let me go back to Gmail. So if let's load. Okay, so let's say I wanted to. There's two ways you could go about this. There's the search and filter route, where you could search your email for specific content that you want to group delete. Like, for example, if I wanted to delete all these YouTube emails, I could just type YouTube into the search. It will pull up everything that says YouTube. And then you've got the select button at the very top here with this little drop down. You can select all of them. You can just select the unread ones. And then any group that you select, all you have to do now is hit delete and they're gone. If you're just operating from the home screen, oops, again, you could select all, you could group select however many you would like in that kind of a fashion, or you could, I think that's it.
How about for dates? Like, could I put a date in there, like erase everything from this?
If you go to the settings, go to filters and blocked addresses. And what we would do is create a new filter. And you could go, let's see. Thought date was a part of that. Guess date is not. Let me see if I. Okay. So you can search for a specific date, but so like if I did. No, that doesn't necessarily work. So there isn't a great way. Well, here you go. So you would have to pick a subject first. So if you were to choose all of the emails coming from, like, in my example, because all I've gotten here is Google and YouTube. So if I hit Google, and now I'm searching all of the emails from that specific user, then you can create a range within that search field. But you can't do it for the inbox as a whole.
God. Well, what about like, because you were just saying that AOL will transfer their emails over to Gmail, it could get forwarded. But if you have too many Gmails, it won't forward. I don't even know if AOL forwards to Gmail anymore. Do you?
Yeah, the forwarding shouldn't be a problem. You can forward almost any email into anything. The only qualms you'll find in regards to email forwarding are things like For example, if you were trying to forward things into your CB NorCal email, that is pretty difficult because of the security filters built around our email. It tends to tag things that are forwarded as spam. So that's where you only kind of run into difficulties is forwarding to something like a corporate email. But you should be able to forward just fine from AOL to anywhere else.
Okay.
Gonna go on. Let's see. The next question in here is on the left side of the screen. I have double inbox, double draft. Is this something I could fix in the settings? That is strange. I would go into the settings and hide everything and then save it. Refresh the browser by there in the actual browser settings. This is a little bit beyond the scope of what we're talking about, but it's not going to take me long. You would want to go click on these three dots in the browser. We're going to go to settings. Again, this is for Chrome. It will be slightly different if you use like Edge or Explorer or Firefox or what have you, but the goal is the same. And what you are looking to do is clear browsing data and clear the cookies. You want to make sure that happens. And then see if that fixes the problem. If it doesn't, I would reach out to our help desk and see if your IT guy has a better answer. How do you expand the column below the compose button?
Yes, I have this problem. You used to be under the compose. There's a list of labels, that column list inbox, send, start, drafts, and it becomes collapsed. Now every time I log into Gmail, that's the list of emails all the way to the side of the screen, and it's only a plus sign for compose and everything else is collapsed. And I have to hop over my mouse over there for it to expand. I don't know how.
Things. I would first make sure that this is shifted down to give space for these items. And then the second is go into the settings and you would go into labels. And same kind of thing I told the other agent. I would hide everything, save it, clear your cookies, and then turn back on the things that you need. So like starred, snoozed, like if I don't need that and get rid of that, you know, and then readjust it that way. See if that fixes the problem, and then it should look like this once you're back to normal. Because if I refresh, you know, I don't have to drop. The only thing that expands down are the stuff I don't use very frequently.
Yeah, it's not about expanding up and down. It's the left and right. You know that there's like a vertical bar that separates the email to the
right
labels.
Yes,
yes, they collapse for some reason to all the way to the side of the screen to the left. So you have to hop your mouse over, yeah, like that.
Oh, if that's what you're looking for, that menu is just accessed by clicking on these little the three little lines. So those will collapse.
Okay, yes, it works
when you
now.
click on there.
You.
So if that's what you were talking. Sorry, I was confused on the question. What you're looking for is here. Now you can. I don't think you can lock that. No, there's no way to like lock it there. So it's if it ever collapses on you, you'll just have to click on that main menu.
Got it. Got it. And I have one more question. When you select on an email, I see there's two buttons that's enabled. One is called Move To, and another called Labels. And what do they do differently? Since they are all labels and photos are the same, I do
The
not know.
move to will allow you to switch it from like, so a label will allow you to move it into one of those organizational groups that you're creating. Move to is going to move something like out of the trash to the inbox, or from the inbox to the archive, or, from one of the big subgroups.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's like a superset of the labels.
Yeah, like 9 times out of 10, like I've only ever used the move to get something I've accidentally deleted back to the inbox.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me go back to the chat, but anybody feel free to unmute yourselves if you have any other questions. Do I have a contact number? It'll be in the email that I send out in response, in recap of everything. You can feel free to reach out to me, or your local field marketing specialist is always available. They have all of the same resources. If there are any other questions, I will put, like 10 seconds on the clock. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the rest of the record, or stop the recording, I should say, not cancel. And